Hey everyone, so in this video we're going to be talking about the Executive MBA program and how it differs from the traditional MBA program and essentially who it's designed for. And so for many of you watching this might actually be recap for you, but I have found that there's a lot of people online who happen to think that the Executive MBA program is a degree that you would get after your MBA program. And so I want to make that very clear in this video that it's not necessarily the case. And also, it's tailored to a completely different audience, and so I want to make that clear as well. And so for those of you who don't know, the Executive MBA program is designed for people who've been out of their undergraduate program for about 10 to 15 years. In a lot of cases, they're people at the director, vice president level positions or in positions that have a similar level of impact. Now, the reason they have a distinct program is the fact that it wouldn't necessarily make sense for them to be in a traditional MBA program in the sense that they wouldn't necessarily have a whole lot to get out of the program. They would learn a lot of really practical things that they wouldn't necessarily be able to implement in their existing role. And honestly, they're in a position professionally which wouldn't necessarily make sense for them to leave, or maybe they're in a different position in terms of having a family and they just can't relocate. And it wouldn't really make sense for them to pursue a traditional business program. And so the executive MBA program is really tailored to people who happen to find themselves in this situation, and particularly people who are at a place in their career where maybe they're a director of engineering, as an example, and they've overseen an engineering team for a period of time, and their background is in engineering, and so that's really the only interaction they've had their entire business career. And maybe they have some lower level interactions with some of the other teams that they've interacted with, but now they find themselves in a position where maybe they're the director of operations or the vice president of operations, and now they're overseeing a lot of cross-functional teams. And so they're interacting with a lot of senior leaders in a lot of the other teams that they didn't necessarily have any type of understanding of. And so they want to learn better how their team fits into the whole organization and how they can add value to some of the other cross-functional teams that they don't have direct experience with. So the executive MBA program is actually going to provide them with some opportunities to learn about managing these different types of business units and how it fits into the whole organization, but also things like interacting with the board and managing people in boardrooms and some of the higher level things that wouldn't necessarily be as relevant in a traditional MBA, but would be more so relevant to senior executives or people who might be working towards a C-level position. And so in a lot of cases, the executive MBA programs will require people to be employed on a full-time basis, and a lot of these programs will make use of blended learning, so there might be some intensive in-course sessions in addition to online learning that'll support the entire experience as well. And the great thing is the networking opportunities that people will be able to experience in this type of setting, especially if it's an international program that has partnerships with a lot of international schools as well. And in fact, this is something that's very common at the executive MBA level. You'll find that there's a lot of programs that actually have partnerships with a similar ranking program in another country, which is great because a lot of the benefits that come along with the MBA program is really the networking opportunity. So being able to network with key executives in key industries all around the world is something that's going to be even more important, and particularly if you can open up the entire alumni network of a completely different school that you now are in partnership with, it's going to be that much more valuable to the candidate as well. Because of the fact that a lot of these people are employed on a full-time basis, and many of the students are sponsored by their current employer. And a lot of these programs are tailored around the fact that a lot of these executives are probably going to be working Monday to Friday, traveling quite often. And so it is something that is taken into consideration in the case where it is a requirement to be employed on a full-time basis. There, of course, are executive MBA programs where candidates might not be employed on a full-time basis, and in this case, maybe they're in between careers or they're looking for a career switch, or they're just taking some time off work in order to focus on their personal development and then re-enter the workforce from there. So the key distinctions here again is the fact the executive MBA is really a completely different audience. And so if you're looking at it and you're maybe a couple years out of your undergraduate program, and maybe you're an individual contributor, or maybe you're junior or middle management, and you're really deciding between the two, the executive MBA program at this stage might not be the right decision for you. It perhaps might be the decision for you in a couple years if you don't pursue the MBA program now, when you're able to move up in your career without the MBA program, then maybe that's an option for you to consider in the future. However, the MBA would probably make more sense to somebody in that situation if you're further removed from your undergraduate experience. You're in a senior level position and you're looking to build your skills and move into an even higher position within the organization or maybe another organization in the future. The executive MBA program might make sense to you. The one caveat to this is career switchers. And so that's always kind of this gray area where you'll find that there are MBA classes where you'll have people in their mid 30s, maybe even late 30s, in a traditional MBA program. And I think a lot of the reasons they'll gravitate towards those programs is perhaps because they're looking to switch industries or switch careers. And so they need a lot of those practical skills that they wouldn't get in an executive MBA program, or they aren't in a position professionally where they would get a lot of value out of the executive program, particularly because they might not be at that stage yet and because they wouldn't be able to add a whole lot to the class at that stage as well. And so that's also something else to consider. So don't let age necessarily be a barrier. It's really looking at where you are relative to your career and how you feel you can add the most value to the class and how much value you can take out of the program as well. So I really hope that this added some clarification to those of you who might not have known otherwise. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, love to hear them in the comment section below. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.